want to know your kind of origin story here. Tell us all about it,
Oh,
man.
sure. Well, I mean, I started off, hearing a lot of music at home. My mom was always playing jazz music and classical music in the house, and she could tell that I responded to it. And I always started piano lessons, at 9, and really I was part of the band program from about sixth grade on up through high school. And so I do have an organic background in music. All right. I understand some theory. I was in a jazz band and went through a lot of classical musical training. So, and that was really good. That really helped me out in preparing me for writing my own material. Okay.
Fantastic.
And so at 18, well, I guess at 16, I got a bass guitar from UPS on Valentine's Day, and that's where I always mark my beginning of starting out to write my own music. But I think what really started it is if we back up a few months and I heard Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon for the first time, and it was like, man, I want to be a contemporary musician. The classical stuff and it's not for me. So that's how things really got started. I was inspired.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. John Andrew Paris is with us today. He's a Texas electronic artist. He's with us today here on our big broadcast, and you're listening to us coast to coast at border to border on iHeartRadio today. And also, you can find us at the mic.fun. That's the mic.fun. So when you started out doing some of the music that you're doing, what were some of your goals?
The goals were, and I guess this would be for this particular album here. My goals were to get out music that I think that some deep listeners would appreciate. Okay, and also, have some commercial viability too. I wouldn't mind getting licensed by some film people on this. I've always been told that my music was very cinematic, and of course I have scored a couple of films, but I'd like to be picked up by some others out there. Get with some music supervisors here and there. But my main goal is to take people on a journey, kind of an extraterrestrial journey. That's my thing. Escape, kind of an escapist thing. Okay.
That's great. That's great. John Andrew Paris with us today. He joins us here on our big program. So how do people connect with you on social media, the websites, all these things?
Well, as far as the social media goes, I've made a lot of new Twitter friends. I was so much as a savvy person on Twitter as of late, but I've been inspired by my PR person to really get that going, and that's been a great experience here over the last, I guess, about 10 days, because I had kind of left Twitter in the dust, but I really learned to enjoy it. It's a really a decent program before, as far as interacting with people on Facebook. Did a lot of that. Ran some Facebook ads. That's always helpful. And I've just got a lot of friends in general out there, whether they be people I've met in the flesh or not, and they've been supportive. They've known me for many years.
That's awesome. So we are going to go to some of your music. Tell us a little bit about Almost Lost. We're going to play that here in a few moments.
Okay, well, so Almost Lost. This is a nice little story. I was basically creating a guitar loop with a bunch of Vibo stuff, and there was layer upon layer of this really cool sound going on that had a very much a mystery sound. It's very mysterious in the way that it sounded like some calling from a distant star. And then I almost lost that recording, and I was like, okay, I'm going to call this Almost Lost. And so I based the creation of the and name of the song around that. And then from there, I just built on top of it, layered my drums and my bass and any other keyboard stuff that was going on, and actually some some shortwave radio field recordings as well. And that's the background on Almost Lost. It was an Almost Lost
Fantastic.
recording.
Fantastic. Well, we are going to do this. We are going to place you on a brief hold here on Skype, and we are going to play this track. And when we come back, we will keep chatting with Mr. Paris here on our big program right now. It's Almost Lost.
You're listening to the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show. You're listening to the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show. You're listening to the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show.
I kind of feel like I have to play that liner because whenever I talk to people on the phone, I have to tell them 3 times in a row just this exact same thing. So I feel like we got to play that liner 3 times in a row. But we are back here with John Andrew Paris. He's a Texas electronic music artist, and he joins us today here via the magic of the old Skip Skype. Yes, the old Skyper Rooney. And so where do you get your influences from, your musical heroes? Tell us about this.
Sure. As far as my musical heroes go, there's a lot of them, and now I guess I'll mention a few. Obviously, some of the ambient stuff that I've done, you're going to have people like Brian Eno, Tim Heck, Finesse. You're going to have those influences. Certainly, Miles Davis. I'm influenced by a lot of jazz musicians because of their because of the improvisational side of what they do, like Miles Davis, John Hassel. Gary Newman is certainly a big influence on me. Mick Karn, Casino versus Japan, great stuff by him. He's got tons of stuff that I really admire a lot. And there's a handful there for you, but there's many more. Certainly, as I mentioned before, Pink Floyd was really kind of a sort of the roots of a lot of the beginnings of my contemporary art.
So, John Andrew Paris is with us today, Texas electronic music artist. He's with us today here on our big program, and you're joining us each and every day over there at the mic.fun. That's the mic.fun. And he's with us today talking a little bit about music and things of that nature. So, what attracted you to Texas electronic music? Because I can't tell you how much electronic music in that state seems to be completely different in some of the other states around the country that do electronic music.
Well, I would say that it's probably a natural progression, as I've been doing music for quite some time. I think that I kind of migrated to electronic music just as music sort of progressed in that direction. I mean, I started off being in rock bands and then experimental bands, and then I got into the electronic scene because that just seemed to be the natural progression. And there are a lot of artists who just kind of emerged from the I would say experimental and avant-garde backgrounds around the Austin area who migrated to that. It just seemed the most logical progression to make.
Fantastic. Well, we have got another track we are going to play, Witch Harvest. Tell us a little bit about this, and then we'll play this track.
Appreciate that. Great. Witch Harvest was inspired really from kind of the dark 80s type of influences. Kind of like, there's a more recent band called the Soft Moon that on their first album, they came out with all these songs that they reminded me of like a future retro sort of 80s band, and I really loved stuff that they were producing. And part of that is some of the inspiration for the sort of dark 80s type of sound from Witch Harvest. I would say that's where I kind of gleaned a lot of my inspiration from, was that kind of a sound. So there you have it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to put you on a brief hold here. We're going to play this track. It is Witch Harvest, and it's here. Knowledge Harvest, and it is here on your big program. And you can get more information online at themic.fun. That's THEMIC.FUN. And we go back to the Skype. We've got John Andrew Paris with us today. He joins us live. He's a Texas electronic music artist. He joins us here on our big program. So, John, as we wrap up here with you, my friend, how do people buy your music, get involved with you online, and support what you are doing, my friend?
Well, first and foremost, one easy step is just to go to parismusiccorp.com.
Fantastic.
And I mean, that will, you go there. It's a pretty simplified site where you can see icons for every platform that I'm on, which is, of course, Bandcamp and iTunes, and of course Spotify, YouTube. They're all listed there. It's very simplistic. It's a very simplistic setup there. So you can go to parismusiccorp.com, and you'll see, of course, icons for that. That'll take you to any of those platforms that it streams on or that you can purchase from. That's as easy as it can be.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thanks
Sure.
for coming on our program and chatting with us. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
it, my friend.
Hey, I really appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, we will talk to you soon, John. Have yourself a wonderful day.
All right. Shout out to Shameless and Shauna. Yep.
She is fantastic. She is pretty damn amazing. So you've got yourself a hell of a PR chick there, my friend.
I can tell. I can tell, man. You have a good one. It was
Definitely.
a lot of fun.
Thank you,
All right.
John. There he goes. That's John Andrew Paris. And that wraps it up here from our big program. If you want to get a hold of us online, you can do so at jiggyjaguar.com. EDM